We got action.
And let's get it. We are black, ladies and gentlemen. Once more and again, your favorite fam is representing up in here, up in here, up in here. It's the Real University, and we are giving y'all some good game. Be sure to follow us with some class. Click, like, and subscribe to the channel, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, or any other social media platform that you are on. It's your main man, Andy Brown, joined by two of the fabulous ladies who are ever to dare graduate from an HBCU. Wait a minute, one fell off, and we're going to keep the party rolling. Appearing to my right, your left, in front of you, wherever your thumb is scrolling, is the wonderful and talented Monday will come and she will tell you all about it. Miss Mia Ferguson, what's going on?
Hey, when Monday comes is in the house. How you doing, everybody?
Welcome, welcome. And back once more again for some great time for some action is the lovely and talented auntie, the blonde bombshell, Tyann. What's going on, fam? How you feeling? A little louder, we can't hear you.
I'm good. Your favorite HBCU aunties. Oh,
right on. Let's get it in. Let's make it happen. Let's do the damn thing. If you missed this show for any reason, folks, shame on you. We got some wonderful content. Scroll back, hit the reverse. Don't get away from it. But we're telling y'all with some real topics here. We've been hitting you with a wonderful series, and today we're gonna wrap it up and hit the finale on this thing. We have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 reasons why it's difficult to support HBCUs in the name of love. And we're going to talk about that and break down the last 4 as we come to this conclusion of this wonderful 3-part episode. So without any further ado, me and Mia hit them with some real good game on the Real.
First of all,
Tyann,
I think we should be Andy's management and just get this man on every series, intro, host, radio show, and everything else because the man does it right.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody just clap your hands.
Hey, Andy Brown. No. Okay, so number 4, coming in with gatekeeping. Now, if you've been paying attention to what we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks, some of you will remember that I have reactivated myself or activated myself in the alumni spaces. And for the reasons I've done it are the reasons why this subject right here, gatekeeping, is so important. Whether it's from a professional space, an internal space, a social conversational space, what we recognize, those of us who really do have a love and want to give back and want to support and bring our talent, skills, relationships to the table, we can't get in contact with anybody. And the reason why we can't get in contact with anybody is because the person who you're passing the message to is not passing along the message. And I'm talking about from the tippity top to all the way down at the bottom. And that's a problem. It's a problem because we talk about all of the things that aren't happening. But behind the scenes, Tyann and Andy can attest because you both have gone through it recently and I'm sure over the years. We try to communicate. We try to reach the person who's the person who knows the person who has the ability to push the next thing, the agenda, the conversation, the topic, whatever forward. The problem is that no one passes along the message. So how can we help if the people that we're communicating with on the university level aren't passing along the message? What do we do? What do we do? You don't answer emails. You don't answer phone calls. You don't respond to pigeon carrier. You don't respond to the mule traveling with the mail. You don't respond to anything. But you're always saying you need help. What do we do? What do we do?
That's a big problem, isn't it?
It's a huge problem.
Yeah. And I think folks don't understand that I'm going to call you back ain't business related. No, we don't do it like that. That ain't cool.
No.
It's not cool, family. It's just not.
It's not cool. I used to think it was departmental. It's not. But we allow certain persons to be the point of contact for people who are outside the community of the actual school business structure. And it's not cool for the last 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years for the issue to still be, well, that's just how HBCUs are.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's
Uncool.
2024.
But you don't want that negative stereotype to just be labeled blanketly across all HBCU. That's what's not cool about that.
But that's the statement that's made. Oh, that's just how HBCUs are.
Horrible.
It's a
Go ahead,
couple things
Tanya.
here to unpack. For me, it's who's dedicated to the cause. You'll get calls back from those who are dedicated to the cause.
I'll drink to that.
You'll get immediate
Yes.
responses from those who are dedicated to the cause. But to your point, who are we electing in these positions? And recognizing when you elect them, are they dedicated to the cause? Now, in certain instances where you have to fill positions and people are just writing people in, because you have to realize too, some of these organizations are still chartered and governed by bylaws. Those are the Robert's Rule specials, as I like to call them. So on paper, you have to have a certain amount of things in order to be able to do the thing. So literally, in certain instances, we're putting people in positions just so that we can still exist, so that the ones who do the work can do the work. But then you'll find life happens. You'll find that, and as I approach my golden years, I'm starting to feel this a little bit more. As volunteers, we recognize this is volunteer work.
Yeah, right. That
I have a certain amount of time that I can dedicate to certain things. A lot of people have multiple organizations. You got the busybodies. So again, when you are setting boundaries for yourself, sometimes you have to say, you know what, I can only check that email once a week or something like that. Because, and y'all know me, I am huge on communication hygiene. I don't want 19 different Slacks, 14 different emails, 13 different group chats, because quite honestly, I cannot be everywhere at all times. So again, you establish a cadence for yourself. But the thing is making sure that that's communicated. And then sometimes it does not hurt. We hide behind the digital age all the time. It does not hurt to pick up the darn phone. Make these phone numbers available, because most likely if somebody calls you, you'll get a more immediate response than waiting on somebody to text you back or email you back.
So 1,000% agree with. So 1,000% agree with everything you said. And then the part about the volunteers pops up in organizations. However, we're talking about HBCUs specifically. And everybody on that campus who gets a direct deposit bi-weekly, weekly, first 15th, and the 30th, it's your job to do the work. So the first thing you said was the thing. Sometimes it's just not, they don't care, right? They just don't care. They've dismissed the job. They've dismissed the responsibilities. Only thing they're looking for is that paycheck that comes on the cadence that it comes in. The issue is, for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, the response can't be, oh, that's just how HBCUs are. And then we're out here defending. But at some point, we had to have the conversation, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Don't want to set the expectation that there's going to be a delay in your communication. I'm cool.
It can't be accepted anymore. Little things mean a lot.
Bad enough that we accepted from our kids who are in the same house that not respond, but not especially from a financial business perspective.
A business.
Oh no.
A business. So yeah, I mean, I just got a story. A young girl. Oh, this is something, y'all. A young girl went to Howard.
Okay.
First week of school, her classes were dropped. She didn't understand what was going on. Bill was paid. Everything happened. Howard got onto a system. The system didn't make updates. She sat around trying to communicate with people. No one responded. Parents drove up from Georgia to go pick her up, brought her back to Georgia from Howard, only for somebody from Howard to call and say, hey, we noticed you haven't been in class. The girl gives a story about why. They say, oh, we're sorry. We hope to see you next semester.
Sorry, don't cut that. You got to come through and fix the issue on the
Hold,
front end.
hold on, Andy. We applied for the school, got accepted for the school, registered for the classes, planned to travel up, dropped our kid off with the desire, the hope, and the understanding and belief that she was going to be able to get her education. She up there probably can't advocate for herself, but so much, figures it out, walks through this campus. Everybody else is going to class. She's trying to figure out where are my classes. No classes, never got an email, a spam mail, a junk mail, anything. Family had to go back to pick her up. So now we're talking about another planning effort here, only to get back, register her at, I believe she's going to Kennesaw. Register, she's upset because this girl wanted to go to Howard her entire life, right? So look at her experience here. Only for someone to call her back and say, we're sorry. We hope to see you next semester.
There's just some holes in that for me.
That's what I think.
Because there's some holes in that for me.
Story.
But if they drove up there to pick her up,
it was time.
There are multiple buildings on that campus. If I'm driving back, mind you, you know what level of festivity I would be at if I had to go turn around and drive back and get my child.
Not even 3 weeks later.
I am entering some buildings while I'm there.
Now you're talking about after the fact. I don't know what happened after the fact. I'm just talking about that. But before we get to the holes, the point is
before we get to the effect, the cause.
Right, it happened. How does that happen? And it can't be.
And that's why I said,
oh, you know how HBCUs are. So the gatekeeping again. I'm getting back to my topic here, gatekeeping. Tyon made the point. I'm going to a building. Well, what happened was she got passed along to multiple people and never got a definitive answer. The reality of it was that they implemented a system that wasn't tested. It wasn't, obviously it had glitches. There was no one in place to fix the problems as they exist or as they begin to unravel. And here we go. Now, my response would not have been to brought my kid back. I would have done what Tyon would have done. I would have gone. I would have found the person, because what I'm not about to do is bring you back.
Truth. Big time issues, folks. I hope y'all understand what we're talking about and why this is relevant. Everybody just kind of pause for the cause and take one on this. We're talking about the top 10 reasons why it's difficult to support HBCUs part 3. Tyon, are you circling back or are we moving on to number 3?
I'm going to add a shameless plug. So the example that Mia gave is the reason why the real actually exists. There is no way in hell that you should not know what some of these processes, procedures are, when to call horse pucky or bull crap on some of the things that go on. We are well experienced in this space. This is why we exist. We can tell you how to navigate in these spaces and places. So that is one of the additional reasons why you need to tune in weekly to what it is that we're saying. Like, follow, share, ask us any questions. We are available so that we can sit here and avoid anything. Because like I said, as I'm sitting here as an HBCU auntie, as an HBCU mama, as a second generation HBCU, as a former admissions officer, nobody's going to tell me that you got to come up 3 weeks later and pick up your kid when your bill is paid. Period.
That part.
Period.
That part.
So that's why we
that
exist.
part. That part. That
Yeah,
part.
man.
And they will protect the stupidity and not get down to the bottom of it. So, okay, we're there. Thank you, Tanya, for coming in hot with that
Okay.
one. She gave me hot with that.
Absolutely.
Right, so
okay.
All right. So our blood pressure going up a little bit on this
It
one,
did.
but I'll say this. For the number 3 reasons why it's so hard to support HBCUs, in my opinion, is y'all know I'm good for stepping on some toes. Support after homecoming. Y'all will come up on that yard shit sharp. Y'all will hop, stroll, roll, body roll.
Right.
But
she did a
after
body
that,
roll.
Saturday's in, we don't see y'all maybe until next year. You got the folks, you got the every year people. You got the I'm just coming on my anniversary people. Or you got the people that's coming because somebody drug you there for whatever apparent reason. But each of these scenarios, when you come, you have a damn good time.
Every time. Every time.
You don't support consistently. These are the voices that we need, because sometimes even when you're coming, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know this has changed so much. This is that, but or we'll be the first one to complain about traditions going away. But where were you when you had a voice? And that also goes back to, again, your participation in the Alumni Association. I'm gonna step on some toes.
She about to step on my toes.
Degrees.
That's okay. I got
degrees. Y'all, again, y'all will come up, hug, kiss, stroll, stomp, do everything. But when was the last time you were active in your own organization? Same thing applies for you coming back to that campus and have not donated not nary one penny. Because it's not always even about how much you give. It's the point that you gave.
Right. And giving us time. Yeah, giving us time too.
For facts.
Giving us time, giving us paying attention to what's going on within your own campus community.
For facts.
You will go buy paraphernalia. The first thing you'll buy is a piece of paraphernalia. But how about some of those students that are walking past that you know could probably need an extra, $20, $40 in their pocket? Right. Shouts out to one of my fellow alumni associations who within the pre-alumni council established every year a fund where you can go back and gift the person who was living in your dorm room at the time you were on campus.
Oh, that's nice.
Now,
that's cool.
So I have adopted that principle as well. I've done it when at Lincoln University. Apparently, the person that was living in my room wasn't home at the time. So I knocked on next door and blessed the next door neighbor with a few pennies.
That's what's
Going
up.
back to the $40. This time I came back, I have a young lady who is from my actual area. Shouts out to Detroit. I know that, again, there's not many of us in the Midwest at Morgan. So what did I do? I put a little $40 in our pocket. But this is also showing the next generation what good alumni do while we're here. We're not just here to wear paraphernalia. We're just not here to criticize what's going on campus. We're just not here just to see our old friends that we haven't seen in a long time. It's about that whole notion of giving back and supporting. So I'm challenging everybody who stepped on that yard in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Give back to your alma mater. Give back to your institution. We need that when we talk about when we talk about what we don't have. In comparison, when we talk about how small our endowments are in the first place, you can make a difference in that. So again, beyond the whole grand scheme of the celebration and the homecoming, let's pause for the cause. Figure out how can I give back beyond homecoming. And I'm done with my rant for today.
And I just like to add to that because of Tyann, I'm gonna say it again. I did activate myself with Morgan's alumni chapter and the local one here in Georgia, and my sorority, my home chapter, and my high school.
What? Y'all do that?
I did that while I was at home because I have a voice. I have a lot of things I want to say. I have a lot of ways that I can support. I have a lot of relationships and I have a lot of resources. And I'm like, I don't have children. So my legacy is beyond me having or being able to bear children. My legacy is what I leave here. And if part of that is not just what these schools or organizations did for me as an individual, but what I did for those and those who benefit from them. And so I did a lot of deep diving into a lot of organizations, but I feel good about it. But Tyann has been advocating for the last 15, probably 20 years. Mia, you need to be active. I said, my mama is active and she ain't even here no more. My father pays her name, right? So I think that, one of the things I said I wanted to do was to reach out to the School of Business. I have a nice dossier of clients and people I've worked with that I'm sure dossier. Okay. And a book of business that these students would love could benefit from having a conversation, right? Making connections. It takes nothing to walk into a classroom or walk into an office and say, hey, listen, I'm class of this. I did this. I would love to be able to speak to. Give me a call, schedule me. I'll come. It takes nothing for that. And I'm sorry, regardless of what we've gone through on what is the top 10 worst things, we all rep our schools and we will say a million wonderful things about why versus a million things about why not.
Yes.
And so let's
bring this full circle back to your number 4 though. Now that you have activated yourself, now that you have established a presence, you can be the one to figure out why they're not answering the phones, why they're not answering emails. Because one thing that I will tell you about Tyann Anderson coming on Morgan State University's campus, and when I step foot on, or if I do pick up the phone and they see me calling, I get answers.
You get an answer.
Because I don't go away.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm also continuing the pipeline. Every year, there's 3 or 4 students that have my name on them some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yep.
So I'm continuing the pipeline. So again, it's the visibility. We got to stop. Yeah. Remember, we got to stop hiding behind this digital age. It's the visibility. And we do have a voice. And you coming in the way that you're coming in gives you a voice. Because guess what? You're voting for who represents you in the Alumni Association.
Yep.
You're actually campaigning in certain instances to have a seat at the table, to help be that decision maker. So once you become visible, you can be the visible change.
Yep. Hey. Yep. And I'm doing what I'm doing. And that was the reason why I can't complain about it if I'm not positioned to speak about it. So I position myself to be able to speak about it so that I can do something about it.
Love it.
There we go. That was a great one. Beyond homecoming support. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. I love everything that I'm hearing. And my people who are just now tuning in, if you haven't learned anything else we talked about, you have learned the word dossier. And you have also learned, definitely, folks, communication hygiene. This is what we do. We are teaching, we are reaching, and we are giving the right information. I have a book that's called the Bible over in this corner. Somewhere in the book of Proverbs, it does state in everything that you get understanding. And I hope that this platform helps each and every one of you tuned in to get some understanding about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're able to reach, teach, and educate all of our real university students, constituents on some real time. Can we talk about this tonight?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, I'm about to smack you across the head with number 2. I've been waiting for this one because this is very, very key, right? Number 2, why it's difficult to support HBCUs. Your counseling coordination is totally off. What does that mean exactly, AB? What are you talking about? That enlighten us on this. Absolutely, I'm going to do that. Why, ladies and gentlemen, are we having second semester freshmen, first year sophomores taking 300 level courses when they have not completed the 200 level courses? I said it out loud and I meant that shit with a passion. You can't allow them to just continue to skip over the proper material henceforth just to navigate through because they're ready to graduate. That's not part of the process. Don't speed them up by allowing us to just bypass. This is rhetoric, and we're talking right now HBCU Theory 101. You can't go to the 200 courses until you come back and complete your 100 courses. It just doesn't happen that way.
But Uncle Andy, I gotta understand where they do that at.
Because they do that.
I was Clark Atlanta University.
Wait.
Oh, they do that.
Because I'm gonna tell you how traumatized I was when it came down to the last semester of my senior year, and I had to pick up a class 6 weeks in just so I didn't have to come back the next year for one class.
Nah.
Is this a new generational thing? Because when I tell you, they will say, hold up, you didn't take, hold up, our accreditation states, hold up, how did you even get out of order yourself?
Because the class wasn't available and I moved you forward. Or the teacher was full that everybody wanted to have, and all their classes were locked up, so we're going to move you on. No, sir.
Or the computer made an error. Because that was the one that one of my babies at Clark got. Now, we all know somebody who took a 101 and a 102 at the same time. Yeah. Because the 102 might have been, 101 might have been American history, 102 was world history, right?
Completely.
But you can't put me in a finite math class and I was supposed to take the prerequisite algebra class or statistics and I ain't take either and I'm in finite. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, that's not.
And then you take my money. Then I drop and I can't.
And you drop. And you drop. No.
But you don't even know that you shouldn't have dropped. You should have transferred.
So let's talk about the dropping.
That's part of the counseling coordination.
Part of the counseling part.
That's completely part of the counseling coordination. You're not ready to take the class. My athletes out there, 13 hours. You weren't ready to take the class. You realize if you lessen your load because you weren't prepared for this, you are now moving into part-time student status.
Right.
Or you're extending.
Do they even have counselors anymore? Like they have counselors. But the counselors are just as bad as the high school counselors. Oh no, they're advisors.
They're faculty advisors.
They're advisors.
But this is my question. I know, and actually I even know from experience and checking on my own child. I know during the pandemic, and I know during the times where we have kind of moved to, the online model, they're a little less accessible as they were in the day. And then I'm going to say this, relying on an algorithm to tell you what classes you may need to take, literally, is that algorithm going to hold you back? Is that algorithm going to say, hell no, you didn't do whatever? Nope. You can give the middle finger to the algorithm, and that's probably what's been happening, but then it doesn't get caught into the back end when it's time to actually matriculate out, and you got to do that exit interview, and you got to do all your capstones, and you got to do all of this. So I think a part of that is the onus is on everybody involved there. But department heads,
the student doesn't know. They don't know.
But wait, Tyon, to your point that you made earlier, and to Andy's point, which is why this is a conversation, we should not be used to this form of lack. Way back in 2000, when I had already finished my credits for my education degree, it was called the praxis back then. You had to pass the praxis in order to be an education anything. Well, so I took all of my education courses my first couple of years, and then my last couple of years, I took all of my marketing classes, right? I was a double major. I get to my senior year, and I only had I didn't really have to even have 12 credits, but I had to because I was a full-time student, right? So my load was very light. All of a sudden, I didn't even, no one told me this. Something just said, I carried around. By the time I graduated, my student, whatever that thing was called that I knew all the courses I had to take, was about as flimsy as this because I carried it around so much. Highlighted it, drew lines to it, wrote things next to it, added my credit. I mean, I carried that thing around like it was my cheat sheet for real. And something said, follow up and find out and make sure that you have all that you need. The requirement changed from the praxis to the NTE about a year prior. But I didn't know because I had finished all of my education requirements. I was full throttle, 10 toes deep in the School of Business. So I was unable to argue that I should have both pieces of paper, my BA and my BS, because the mortgage requirement was that I had to take the NTE, but I had taken the praxis. So it was kind of like, it was a loophole that I got caught in. It was a loophole that I got, but that was back in 2000. It is 2024. Why we still got the same problems? We still got the same problems.
Yeah,
that's my issue. Like, if we have advisors, advise. We got counselors, counsel.
They've been doing this for a long time.
You've been doing it too long.
Yeah. You setting these folks up for failure. And that is the main reason why, folks, it's difficult to support that. Do not just continue just for your paycheck. Don't just continue this because you're tired. Right? Don't just continue this because you're about to get off work.
Right.
Consider that young student who's coming to you for support. They're coming to you for guidance, and they're coming to you because they don't know what's best for them at this moment. Right. And if that's not something you can handle, accept that and pass it on to somebody
they don't know.
else.
And you know that they don't know. They might not even know how to articulate what they need. And you gotta be there. I mean, if we walk adults through baby steps, why do we have so little patience for the babies who are trying to become adults?
Now you get that one student that has to come back and tell your mom and dad that I don't know if I'm gonna graduate this semester. Why? Why don't you know?
And that's too big of a problem.
Yes. So I believe, folks, if you're getting this information, come on in. Talk to us about this.
It's also twofold here, because I feel like, in a sense, if we've gone to this digital model, if we've gone to trying to make these students accountable and advocate for themselves, but at the same time, we have not tenured professors. You've got adjunct coming in, filling your staff most of the time. Adjunct is also non-committal.
Use the other word. What's the adjunct? And then you have your who's.
Then you have
your interims. Your interims.
Yeah. They ain't really here for real.
Are not invested in that. And then, quite honestly, in those roles and positions, they're not even in positions of power to be advisors. So is it that those who have the authority to be advisors have too much of a load that they can't pay attention? So this is where I go back to Andy's point. This is what makes it hard to support.
Yep.
And so this is where I have to advocate for the staff and the faculty.
Real talk, folks. We get
resources.
Get some good truth. We have this here. I hope you all are taking notes. I hope you all are just allowing this to make sense. We have given you, over the past few episodes, top 10 reasons why it's difficult to support HBCUs. We've broken it down all the way from 10 to 2. And now, folks, why? Let's bring it all together and touch home base on this one. Why? Why is it difficult to support HBCUs? Tyon, kick this field goal through the net so we know what's really about to happen.
Yeah, for me and my DJ.
So, what makes it so difficult to support HBCUs? Let's take it all the way from 10 to 2. We've stated all of these reasons. But the thing that makes it most difficult for us to support HBCUs, because at the same time we're screaming support, we done turned our backs once we have walked off the campus a lot of the times.
Yeah.
We have turned our backs. We don't come together until there's a major controversial issue.
Guilty.
We look at the propaganda and perpetuate the propaganda that's in the media about our institutions.
Yeah.
We don't feel that we are on par, even though we say it. We don't show that we are on par with some of these PWIs.
For sure.
So it's not only the talking of the talk, it's the walking of the walk.
For sure.
And that's what makes it difficult, because also in that each one, reach one, teach one, I need to pull my own peers along. Andy, what did we just do last week? While I was on campus at homecoming, I ran into a good girlfriend of mine who actually had to leave our experience early. But she comes back to homecoming every now and again. She's still a part of the family. And again, because I still keep I'm an official auntie of her babies. I still keep an eye on what's going on with her babies. And I know she's got one who has all-star potential, who I noticed wasn't at homecoming with her this time. The last time I saw him at homecoming, he was probably still in elementary school. And I said, well, what is Bookie Boo? What is Bookie Boo gonna do? Bookie Boo is about to come out of school in 2 years. When she says to me, Bookie Boo really don't have HBCUs on the radar. What did I do? I said, okay, let's get it on the radar. And I said, this is what I'm gonna do. Me and Lily start communicating and said, when can we get a few folks on the phone? And what did I do? I called up my HBCU uncle and said, because he has experience in athletics in that space at one of the athletic powerhouses, let's make some moves and some connections.
Come on now.
Right on.
But how many of us are doing that with our peers? Every person that I went to school with who has a child that is college age, I'm asked before I write the check for their graduation, I'm asking where they're going to school. And I'm asking if they didn't pick an HBCU, why?
Why?
Especially if their parents came out of an HBCU.
But this is the thing, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you talk. You are, as an individual, are loyal. You're supportive. You believe in the power of give back, and you believe in the village. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not that way, right? So I could call you and say, what's Chaz doing? You could say, hey, I'm coming down. I got to take Chaz. This you want to roll with me up just so he can see another face. I could say, I said the $40 you said, I sent on one of my babies. He's at a PWI, but he called Aunt Mia. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I needed it. Your mama been doing it by herself for the last 18 years.
Yeah.
Aunt Mia got it. She gonna send it, right? And I just been picking them around, just sending it. But not everyone's like that. And I think what happens is that it's the attitude of self. And during what you said, I said guilty because I left school and I hit the ground running, trying to establish myself in my career, and realized how hard it really was. I can say the same thing with high school. I left high school, went straight to college, trying to figure it out, staying on top of it. I became a Delta. One of my big sisters told me, she's like, the mama big sis, listen, Delta's going to be here forever. Delta ain't going nowhere. But your life is going to have hills and valleys. You got to figure it out. You can always come back. It is, and I literally told her this the other day. I talked to her and I said, do you know how much I keep that in the back of my head? I said, but now I see the time that I can do these things. And I get it. But at some point in time, you got to realize, I could have said, well, I ain't got no kids. I ain't got to worry about it. But that's not my legacy as a person. Some people just don't have that village mentality. They don't have that support moan in their minds. They don't understand reach one, teach one, because we still live, and I wrote this blog a couple of weeks ago on whenmonday.com, check it out, America the Narcissist. Because America as a country, we're very selfish.
Hey.
But when you go on that campus and you want to know, oh, why is that building so raggedy? I can say it. And I know I wasn't one of them. Well, when was the last time you supported?
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you went to a planning meeting? When was the last time you found out what they're actually building? When was the last time you inquired, to Tanya's point? When was the last time you inquired? That don't cost a penny. Now, I can tell you throughout my years of not being a financial alumni, I've tried to set up multiple meetings with my alma mater and some other schools to help with building, to help with funding, to help with multiple ways of give back. I've done that outside of not being active because at the time, in my mind, these things, if they could happen, would support not just my school, but multiple schools. But I realized that my voice, it couldn't just be a voice of conversation. It had to be a voice of action. And the way my actions are, because, I apologize later. I said, girl, go ahead and be financial so you can go ahead and get up in there and speak the truth.
Yeah, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
So support you again. Your point is just, it's so on point. It's so on point.
There's another parallel that I want to make. I want to make another point on this whole parallel, though, because we're very hard on our HBCUs, but there are small Catholic colleges that are in the same boat financially. Yep. When you look at certain sized schools and the funding, if you look at certain small liberal arts colleges that may not have evolved, if you look at colleges that have certain religious affiliations, if you look at even colleges that, again, only exist because of, their historical prominence in a certain area, they face the same challenges as HBCUs, funding, decrepit buildings, and all of that. Yeah. But those are the ones you don't hear about. Why are we always in the spotlight?
Because we always doing this.
Oh yeah.
And we do the Diddy. It's the Diddy effect.
Yeah.
So we are sometimes our own worst enemies.
Look at Taya. You know her thing is music, man.
All you want to do is criticize.
Yeah, that's what we do. We criticize.
Again, and it's one of those things where it's true. Stop telling the family business.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's get amongst us and watch who we talking to, but talk to each other on solutions.
Right.
Because Mia, you can attest to this. Loyola is right up the street from Morgan State University in the same neighborhood in Northeast Baltimore.
Yep.
But how often do you hear them talking about Loyola?
Never.
Is it now?
Never.
Okay.
Literally the same street.
Really?
Further down.
Literally Cold Spring Lane, right there.
Yep.
That's good to know.
Yep.
I didn't know. It's sad, but I didn't know where some of these HBCUs were located.
So Maryland is one of those states that has a number of HBCUs. And a lot of them, Morgan and Coppin are in the city, Bowie down the road, down 295. Frostburg's not HBCU. What's the other one, Tanya? Morgan, Coppin, Eastern Shore, and then we have
Eastern Shore.
Eastern Shore. But what's the other one? The one is Sojourner.
Sojourner Truth.
Yeah, it's named after Sojourner Truth, but it's Sojourner something. But yeah, all of them. Mm-hmm.
Did you know we played Bethune-Cookman last weekend, and I did not know what Bethune-Cookman School was?
What?
Nope. Found out this year that it's in Florida.
Yeah.
Nope. Didn't know.
Interesting.
I mean, think about it. And if you think about it, when I entered into college, there were 120 HBCUs. Now we're teetering on 99.
It's not 102, 103. Oh, you said teetering. Okay. Because Morris Brown came back to accreditation. Yeah. And a few.
They're now counting Lewis College of Business. And then Houston Tillotson that their campus that they're opening out in LA. Tillotson that they're opening out in the LA area.
Which
so again, we're teetering. And then wait a minute, I have to even shout out what's going on with St. Augustine. I don't know if after the end of the spring semester last year that they shut down, or did they do they have a new freshman class this year? So again, just kind of watching what's going on with St. Aug.
So I didn't realize that St. Aug was even HBCU.
Huh. Finding out today.
I'm not embarrassed. Look, St. Augustine, write it down.
Look at us in here learning. Okay.
But we're also very humble and okay with not knowing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna know. But yeah, to Tayon's point, understanding and knowing, right? Knowing is half the battle, G.I. Joe. Right? G.I. Joe? Yeah, so that's where I grew up in. Yeah, so this was the top 10. So let's just recap. We came in at number 10, mismanagement.
Mm-hmm.
We bopped down to alumni association, athletics. Number 7, community obligation. Number 6, changing of the guards, the olds versus the new.
Yes.
5, the separate planning. 4, gatekeeping. 3, beyond homecoming support. Number 2, counseling coordination. And the number 1, overall support. We got to do better.
Yeah.
We got to
start here. It starts here with recognizing what we're saying, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. And this is not a bashing session, folks. We're just recognizing here are the issues, right? Here are the holes that we need to fill, and we're recognizing some of those issues. But now, because we recognize that, what can we do better as a community, as a family, as an HBCU tribe to do better? And this is where it starts.
Yeah, each one teach one, tell one. We're about to have a lot of conversation with a lot of wonderful, amazing people. We have some interviews coming up where we're going to be able to have these conversations with people who are out there, who are doing things, who have things to bring to the table for our schools. Open up the doors, open up your ears, pick up the phones, respond to the email, reply to the text.
Yeah,
because we're here. We want to help. We want to help.
And I believe this is what we're doing we're helping by doing this step.
For sure.
But not only that, remember the legacy of standards of excellence. And let's keep in mind that we need to stay on the path of excellence. Let's stop trying to redefine what excellent is. Let's stop trying to dumb everything down. Let's not set the bar at mediocrity anymore. Understand what these standards of excellence are and maintain it. Listen, our ancestors coming out of HBCUs have done amazing things, and y'all know they rolling over.
Honey, I told somebody the other day, Osceola would be rolling over in her grave right now. And some of the things that these folks are doing up in those things weren't incorporated. Because life was harder back then, and they did more.
Yeah,
life was harder back then.
Let's talk about the Thurgood Marshalls that came out of the Lincoln universities. Let's talk about the Martin Luther Kings that came out of Morehouse. Again, we know where we're trying to go with this new election. And if you're loud and proud on being a graduate of Howard University, let's start upholding the types of students that come out of here. Let's be that standard of excellence.
True.
Yeah.
It just doesn't stop. It doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. So here we are, the Real World University, coming to you with the real things, real things, real things. Andy says it best all the time. The Real World University, bringing you the real conversation.
From real people, from real experiences.
People, real experiences. Let's do it. Great conversation, guys. Are we out? We're out. That's it.